Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. Today, talking about another book. This is Red Night Falling from Craig Shaefer, the second book in the Harmony Black series. So I read Harmony Black last few weeks ago, the first book, and I enjoyed it, and I gave it a good review, and I said this might be the sort of modern kind of pulpy action adventure stuff that I've been looking for, and that I was going to try to continue reading the series. Well, I was waiting on a library book to come off of hold, so I picked it up. I picked up the second book and read it, and it's not as good. It's good. It's fine, but I think that Harmony Black was a better book. That doesn't mean I don't recommend it. If you want to read kind of modern, pulpy, whatever, it's good. I'm going to continue with the series. There's some differences between this book and the last book that I appreciated. I felt in the first book of the series, there was a little too much leaning into the whole, like, let's explain how hell works. If you don't know, this author writes around a theme of, like, hell is a real place and demons do exist on Earth. I'm not going to spoil the rest of it, but that's the premise. And so the first book really kind of was like let's catch you up on this author's world, because this series is kind of, there's other series that came before. So it's kind of like a catch-up book. This book doesn't really have the demons and stuff. It just has a main issue. And I thought that premise was pretty cool. The idea of there's a satellite that was put into orbit years before Sputnik, like 2 years before Sputnik. Nobody knew about it, but people have spotted it ever since, and it's been like speculated on who put it up there, whatever it is, blah blah blah. Well, it got hit by some space debris and it's crashing to Earth, and so Harmony and her team have to go recover this thing. And of course, as it always is, there's also like 4 other people looking for this thing, units, organizations, whatever, gunfights, all that sort of stuff. So it was a much more grounded, I guess, story. There is a supernatural element, obviously. Harmony Black is a witch. She uses her powers in this book. And it ends up being a little bit more than just a satellite that crashed to Earth. So, where I think this book kind of went a little bit sideways, the first book was very focused. One thing I very much liked about the first book was that it was basically just a small town problem, and this team comes in and deals with small town problem. This book was like a worldwide problem, so it was a much larger scope, a much larger what's it called? If they fail, it's cataclysmic the stakes. That's what I'm looking for. The stakes are much higher in this book, but also like they're just kind of scattered, and the whole book is like, we run to a point, everything goes sideways, now we have to double back and run to a different point, and then everything goes sideways, and then we run back and go to a different, and it's just that after that after that after that. And after a while, it was kind of like, come on, dude, seriously, like, could you just pick a lane and let's go down that until conclusion, instead of this flying all over the place, introducing new characters for whatever reason, this and that. I mean, I think that it's definitely some setup. Like, there's definitely some stuff going on in here with other agencies, other characters that will continue forward. And there was some good character development for some of the members of the team. But overall, I felt like the book was just more, I guess, more plot driven, more just like running from point to point, trying to catch our own tail. And that felt a little bit off to me. I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I felt like it was still a fun read, but not as good as the first one. And now that I'm saying all this, I might downgrade it to 3 out of 5 stars, because it wasn't nearly as good as Harmony Black. So that's it. Spoilers are incoming. If you don't want to hear spoilers about this series, please go somewhere else. So Harmony Black once again, barely uses any of her witching abilities in this book, and when she does, it leaves her wiped and drained and powerless, which is, I don't know, like, I like the fact that she is guns first, witchcraft second, but also, like, she's battling demons and stuff. Like, you would think that she would prepare a little bit more. Like in the first book, they had to go to Home Depot to get, basic witching supplies. Like, you would think that she would have some sort of amulets or something that she has created to help in moments like that. And maybe we'll get to see a little bit of that. One of the things I really liked from the Dresden Files is that he has a lot of, like, prepared things so that he can do some on-the-fly magic. Harmony just seems to be completely oblivious to the idea that she can have some stuff ready, despite seeing it constantly that her foes do have these things. They have things in place to aid them in tough situations. She doesn't prepare anything, which feels a little bit awkward. The main idea that I liked, the idea that this satellite was not some sort of spy satellite, it was a defense mechanism because an outer god basically got banished from Earth as an elliptical orbit with Earth, and this satellite was a shield protecting the Earth from this demon. I like that concept. That was fun. But the whole, like, we recover the satellite in the first, like, third of the book, and then we spend the next 2/3 of the book recovering this thing over and over and over and over, and it was just tiring. Like, I don't know. Why can't we just recreate this tablet? There's a chunk of lead with some runes in it. Can we not just remake it and launch it again? Like, why do we need that particular thing? Like, it all felt a little bit contrived, a little bit just like, and then we had to bring in this, Steve Jobs character that isn't Steve Jobs but totally is, and he's trying to join the network. So I get that there's a whole bunch of threads. So this whole network thing gets introduced. The idea that there is this, like, syndicate that runs the world. But they're extremely private. The idea that there's these information brokers that are part something, part demon, part sorcerer, not really sure. That was interesting. That there's warring factions within the U.S. government. That's interesting. Like, there was a whole bunch of little interesting threads, and they were fun to pull on here and there. Kevin and his relationship with Nix or Mickey was an interesting part of the book, and there was some good character building there, some good character building with Jessie feeling like she failed her team and coming back and that sort of stuff. But overall, the story of just like, we get shot again, whatever, let's move on to the next. Now who's our target? Just reacquiring target was all this book was, and the actual event of saving the world was like one paragraph, and you're like, cool, that was excellent. But still, like I said, I rated it well because it was a quick read. It's only like 6 hours, less than 6 hours. Kind of power through it. I read it in the car during all of our travels this weekend, and I did enjoy it. And I am going to continue on and read the rest of the series. I believe there's currently 7 books, so I've got 5 to go. But I'm currently reading Salem's Lot, another Stephen King book. So we'll probably talk about that next whenever we get back to talking about books. But I have other things to talk about this week. So, what do you got going on? You been reading anything? Let me know. In the comments, thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is tropism. It is a noun meaning the tendency of a plant or other organism to change direction in response to a stimulus. Also used as a pejorative to describe reflexive or instinctual, mindless human behavior. Socialites demonstrate tropism as they flocked to the newly opened store of the newest high-fashion designer. Tropism, T-R-O-P-I-S-M. I would have guessed from the word itself, like trope, meaning like just reflexive instinct. Yeah, like the usual instinct. I guess I'm glad they kind of threw that in as a secondary definition.